Hello everyone, I'd like to welcome you to today's webinar, Empowering Your Sales Team, Microsoft Dynamics 365 for Sales. I'd like to introduce today's speaker. We have Lisa Steinhardt, our Dynamics 365 Customer Engagement Solutions Director here at Socius. So at this point, Lisa, I believe we're ready to transition the presentation over to you.
Okay, very good. Thanks so much, Lindsay, and welcome everyone. But again, for the purpose of this presentation, think CRM when I'm talking about Dynamics 365. Today's sales landscape has changed, as I mentioned earlier. It's kind of this new era. There's more information, more people, internal demands consuming about 67% of our time and 67% for salespeople. This leaves little time for selling. And I'm pretty sure if you're like me, most of us multitask, switching back and forth between internal and external demands all day long. And every time we switch tasks, we don't get more done. Instead, we end up losing about 40% of our productivity. So when you add up all the lost productivity, it's no wonder that salespeople really only spend about a third of their time doing what's most important, and that's selling. So how do we decrease the impact of all this multitasking and help sales execute more effective ways to communicate with prospects and customers while, pursuing increasingly complex sales and sales cycles? The key is freeing up salespeople to focus on engaging, developing, and building customer relationships. It means that sales leaders need solutions that help salespeople grow business, help them stay focused, and most importantly, help them win deals faster. So today, we're going to take a look at how Dynamics 365 helps sales professionals do just that. What makes Dynamics 365 unique is that it harnesses the power of one platform, Microsoft's platform. This is a platform that most likely you're already using if you use Office, for example. And let's talk a little bit about the value of what one platform really means. I think that one of the most powerful aspects of Dynamics 365 is the deep integration with Office 365. We're now able to bring together the two worlds of business process and personal productivity. And by making tools like Excel and Word available within a business process, we can now significantly increase productivity because we're not switching between applications. It's like Intel, it's all inside now. Power BI and Cortana Intelligence are all baked in now to Dynamics 365. And why is this important? Well, how many of you maybe received an Echo or talk to Alexa on a daily basis? Alexa's sister, Cortana, is also super smart, and she's learning more about your business every day. While Alexa focuses on learning from your speech, Cortana is learning from your data, and that's data that's inside of Dynamics 365. This means that Cortana can make predictions for you on selling trends, on behaviors, and even provide advice for next steps based on your specific business environment. Data today is also coming from more places than simply the data that gets entered into a system. If you've heard of the Internet of Things, sometimes you'll see it as IoT. This technology enables things, so think of like appliances, to be able to feed back data to other systems like Dynamics, so that in this sense, Cortana can learn from that data that it's capturing from those appliances. And from that, it can automate workflows and drive next steps. Additionally, one of the major issues that has plagued software applications is the inability for these different software applications to talk to one another. Dynamics 365 solves this problem. There is one common data language so that financials, for example, can speak to service apps. And Dynamics 365 also includes tools that enable anyone, not just a techie, to be able to create workflows between any applications. If any of you today are using IFTTS or if this then that, This is an app that's available on iPhone, for example. It's the exact same concept for businesses. That app allows you to put in if-then statements. So if I get an email from so-and-so, send me a text. Power Apps and Flow can do the exact same thing for you. And just like you have an app store on your iPhone, you have an app source with Dynamics 365, and this is allowing business users to easily find those apps that meet their needs quickly, simply, very cost effectively, and with snap-in-like installation, just like you experience with your cell phone or your mobile phone. So I hope that I've differentiated for you how different Dynamics 365 is from Dynamics CRM. It's a game changer, and it's a game changer for companies and especially for sales teams. So given everything I've just covered, let's get into the guts of how exactly Dynamics 365 empowers sales teams. We're going to cover 5 key areas, so actionable insights, personal engagement, managing customers, and managing performance. Actionable insight means surfacing information to sales so they know exactly what to do with that information and what outcomes will most probably be derived. If you've ever managed salespeople that perhaps spend time on prospects that will never close, actionable insights can show a sales rep exactly which leads to go after based on automated lead scoring and prioritization that shows a lead's likelihood to convert based on Cortana's learning power. Salespeople can sell smarter with signals from both Office 365 and Dynamics 365 that can reveal critical, what I'll call powerhouse type of insights like relationship health, potential risk, next best action to take, and allowing the sales team and people to focus on the most important prospects and customers. I don't know today how salespeople work without any types of dashboards in front of them. Dynamics 365 for Sales surfaces dashboards that make salespeople far more effective because it's surfacing real-time lists and reports and insights that allow you to be able to drill down from an interactive perspective and provide those visual capabilities, which are extremely powerful. Far more powerful, I think, than reading an Excel spreadsheet. And those of you that are or manage salespeople, typically you know that we're not spreadsheet people. We're highly visual. And this is something that Dynamics 365 brings a significant amount of value to salespeople. While these insights, or with these insights, sales has the ability to increase opportunity size because it can surface, the system can surface to you cross-sell recommendations that are tailored to your customers' needs and perhaps their buying power. So hopefully you're starting to get a feel for how this system is different than just a typical contact management system, which is how most companies use, unfortunately, a CRM system today. I mentioned earlier that salespeople need to understand how to effectively engage with prospects so that we're not wasting time. And I want to give you a couple examples of how Dynamics 365 does this. One is enabling sales to track the interactions between a recipient of an email, such as an open, a reply, if they open the attachment that you sent. It allows you to stay on top of your email and then prioritize those prospects or customers based on who is most engaged. Another example of this would be helping sales to identify high-quality leads by using, for example, social communities to identify and act on buying signals and then create leads based on social posts or the ability to reach out to new contacts through mutual connections right from the application. The social engagement part of sales life is becoming increasingly more important, and the system has embedded capabilities that now enable sales to see a snapshot of social activities and then report back on the amount of buzz or posts, trends that they're seeing in the social community, as well as sentiment analysis. So not having to switch back and forth between applications certainly helps with focus, by having all the relevant details about a customer or prospect at their disposal. Things like common connections, social posts, email opens, All of that without having to navigate between a variety of applications helps sales to focus more on engagement. If you ask a salesperson about one of the most frustrating aspects of their daily life, they'll say that finding the right information that they need at the right time in the sales cycle is a problem. And even myself, I confess, I waste a ton of time looking for information and making sure I have the right updated versions of information. Dynamics 365 has thought all of that through, so they've extended it to include real-time co-authoring. So think about the manpower saved by setting aside an hour for the team to collectively co-author a lengthy sales proposal in real time, instead of what typically happens where you're holding separate reviews and separate authoring sessions and so forth. It is a huge time saver. And then how does Dynamics 365 empower sales to manage deals? And there's really 4 key areas that I want to address. Dynamics 365 reaches out to third-party information compilers, and we'll see this in a minute, but it reaches out to them either by company or contact, and it brings in news and compelling events that can really help salespeople to qualify leads and close deals quickly with the access to that kind of visibility. If I know, for example, that a company has been involved in 2 acquisitions in the last 18 months, as a salesperson, I pretty much know that system-wise they might be having some challenges, which gives me a leg up on the competition in a sales cycle. And the new term for all of this insight is called firmographics. It's when sales, it's bringing in all of that information necessary so that when sales connects, discovers, and shares these ideas, they close more deals. I'm not going to touch too much on mobile. The mobile capabilities in Dynamics 365 are a no-brainer. Everything I traditionally have on my desktop, I now have on my device, and you simply download the app just like you would any other app that you might use today, and you've got a thoughtfully laid out system that allows sales to interact with Dynamics 365 conveniently, regardless if they're using an iPhone, Android, or Windows device. It is all the same and very responsive. Process, of course, can make or break sales teams, and Dynamics 365 has thought that through as well. With the use of process automation that further reduces redundant tasks that take sales away from meaningful engagement with customers and prospects. One of the most exciting new adds for Dynamics 365 is the inclusion of portal capabilities. And for those of you that perhaps sell through a channel, you can use these portal capabilities to recruit and onboard and strengthen your partner channel through this portal that's designed to help incorporate that sales force into perhaps your internal process and then share all that data to help them sell faster, better, smarter. Sales teams, of course, are only as good as their managers. So managers within Dynamics 365 can now have tools to be able to ease onboarding and ensure that process is followed with best practices by using the business process management tools as well as included interactive help and documentation. Along those lines, gamification, the ability to have this constant focus on user adoption is key to ensuring the system can do what you need it to do. The number one reason why CRM installations fail is really failure of the sales team to adopt the system. No information equals no insight, and the new gamification capabilities are designed to really take that drudgery out of the sales manager's role of designing spiffs and sales contests, and it helps bring that user adoption to the forefront. If it takes you 4 days to complete your sales reports, you're going to love the goal monitoring and setting capabilities as well. Being able to measure and monitor goals either as an individual or as a team or even by product, the number of possibilities are endless, and you can easily see in real time where you are and if you're on your way to meeting goals or if an adjustment is needed. So let's take a look at each of these categories so I can give you some examples so you can really see how all of this comes together. This is an example of how the system provides insight into the health of your relationship with a customer. Here in the center, that super smart Cortana is comparing the interactions of this prospect for this particular deal with other opportunities that your sales team has won. So it's tracking all interactions, time the prospect has spent interacting, and the response rate. Additionally, Cortana is gathering all this information and assigning it a score of good based on these 167 interactions that the prospect has had. Notice too that Cortana is serving up some calendar information as well. It's telling us that we have a meeting with stakeholders today at 11:30. So via the mobile app, I can see what interactions my prospect has taken. In this particular example, the system is telling me that what's new since I last logged in. Kevin opened my email, and it's even advising me to call Kevin right now. I mentioned a little bit earlier about process. Here you see a specific example of the process designer for an approval process that's needed for discounting and rebates. Again, we're trying to help sellers offer the best product mixes, adding value to the customer. Earlier, I had mentioned the buzzword firmographics relating to external news and insights about a given customer. This fall, there are updates to the Insights feature, which some of you may not know about. Here on the right, I can see some of the firmographics that Cortana brought in. The system is even suggesting some topics that I might want to use to start a conversation, perhaps with a prospect. If I jump into the details of the insights, you'll see that the system's giving me information stats about the company, like revenue and ownership, information that, I may add used to cost companies an insane amount of money to access. And with Insights, it's all included in your subscription. Also note that it's providing me with contacts and showing me which contacts I might be connected to already. And so I think that if those of you that don't know, Microsoft purchased LinkedIn last summer, and while it isn't incorporated into Insights yet, just wait, because the information that's going to be available in one application for sales is going to be mind-blowing, and will certainly bring more information to you in the spring when that has launched. The best part of all of this information, however, is that by selecting Add to CRM right here, it's automatically going to append the record with this information. So there's no more searching LinkedIn, Googling, calling the receptionist. It's all right here. I also talked earlier about how the system can apply predictions based on engagement and activity. So with the way that technology has advanced over the past decade, it should come as no surprise that massive amounts of consumer data are now being produced on a daily basis. However, the challenge for most companies is most of the data being created exists outside the relationship that they have with their customers. Additionally, the data that companies do have is often trapped in applications that the people who need access to it, like sales, don't have. And then many times, it would take far too long and far too much money to even make it available in the first place. So Versium Predict is now included in your sales subscription. And this tool gathers information so that it can produce predictive scores that allow sales and marketing to act on a single piece of information without having to worry about all the mathematical equations and complex data associations that are behind it. The easiest way to explain this is that the tool diagnoses what happened in the past in order to predict what's going to happen in the future. And that, of course, can lead to improvements in customer retention, engagement, and even monetization. And so some examples of what this tool does right out of the box includes predictive scoring to help organizations identify the most important leads to focus on, predictive prospect list builder so that you can identify new leads through new lists, and then a marketing list validation to ensure that accurate and complete data for multi-channel campaigns is successful. In this particular example here, you're seeing that the leads that you have associated, or the leads that you have and the numbers associated within a given score range are are selected by moving the slider back and forth. Here I'm asking the system what happens if I select leads with a score above 25. And it's returning to me here a projection of potential performance. So in this case, with a threshold of 25, I've got 16,000 leads. And my projected conversion rate, of course, based on historical data, is likely just under 3%, or 444 of these leads will convert to qualified based on historical information. And in this chart too, I'm looking at newly added leads within my list. Whoops, sorry about that. Give me just a second, sorry. Excuse me, sorry about that. In this chart, I'm looking at the newly added leads within my list and where they scored, and it's returning those records to me below here so that I can focus first on these to take action. Again, helping salespeople to put their efforts toward opportunities that have the best likelihood to close. So today I've provided you with an overview of exactly how Dynamics 365 not only empowers but enables sales teams with state-of-the-art capabilities that honestly just a year ago were out of reach for most companies. And what I've shown you today comes with your subscription, which starts at $95 per month per user. If I've done my job today, I've piqued your interest enough to perhaps make you want to see more. If you'd like a brief consultation on how Dynamics 365 can empower your sales teams, please reach out to me or your consultant, and we can do a deeper dive for you. At this point, I will go ahead and open it up for questions. Lindsay, any questions in the queue?
There are none right now, but I will see if any come in the next couple minutes.